All right, good morning everybody. Welcome to another round of coffee and questions. It is Sunday. Haven't put up a lot of videos lately. Work keeps me busy in the healthcare field and it's just been swamped. So I haven't done that many videos, but I had a neighbor come over and say, hey, can you do me a favor and make me a very simple hose rack? And I'm like, well, yeah, but you know, look, what happened to the one you had? Because I noticed in his front yard, I mean, he had one, he goes, well, it broke. He goes, I threw it out. And I go, you still got it? Yeah. So he brings it over to me and I said, look, it might be a lot easier just to simply fix it. So this is what it looks like. Right here. Probably bought it out at Lowe's, Home Depot or something. And it broke off down here, which I can tell was a very thin-walled piece of steel. Probably came down to a spike. He drove it in the ground like this. Just draped the hose over it out front, you know, where he washes his car's driveway and stuff. Let me try to fix this one for you. It'll be quick, easy, cheap, and then, you know, we'll go from there. So what I'm going to do here in a minute, I'm going to use a 4.5-inch angle grinder and a cutoff wheel, and I'm just going to cut this right here. I'm going to cut it off. Then in the scrap pile, what I found was a piece of angle iron. This is about 2 1/4, something like that. It's an old bed frame rail, really. And I'm going to cut this right here with that angle grinder, and I'm going to make a spike on here so that you can drive this into the ground. Now this is really heavy duty. It's probably overkill, but you know what? I think it'll work out fine. And then somebody said, hey, look, you know, when we were out at our little club meeting, can you talk briefly if you're going to do a video on, you know, that? Because I told him I would be repairing this for him on the weekend when I had time off. You know, can you go over some of the tools that you use? And I said, sure. So I'm going to use all simple basic tools to do this repair. Now you can make one from scratch by going to your steel suppliers and whatever, look through their cutoff pile. I mean, you can find, you know, some sheet metal you can make, you know, just by cutting a square and then bending it over, let's say a 5-gallon bucket or I don't know, whatever. You can create that arch. You can make your own, of course, from scratch if that's what you want to do. I'm talking about just modifying one that he already had that he was going to throw out. Let's jump into this and I'll talk to you about the tools as we go. Some of the simple tools, I have pliers right here, just a set of pliers. These came from out at Harbor Freight. Let me show you a picture real quick. Okay, now what else do I have? I've got a couple of these. I've got 2 sets. These are Mig Pliers and they come in real handy for clipping the wire as well as cleaning your tip. And I'm going to show you because it's got a little bit of corrugation up here on the tip, so when you stick this into the tip and you twist it, it gets off all the slag. And I'm going to show you all those things. We'll go over them basically. So I'm going to show you where these tools are. Let me show you an Amazon link here that you can also get a good set of Mig Pliers. Okay, so you saw that, or you can get them from out at Harbor Freight and you get a discount. Now I've got one set from Harbor Freight. I believe it's this one. I've had it for a very long time. It works fine. I also have the one I showed you in the link that I threw up on Amazon, and it's your choice. So now I also have just a generic pair of pliers that were sitting around. These are like my abusive ones that I use for whatever, but you don't need these. But I would suggest at least these 2, and I'll suggest some other things as we go. So let me cut this. I'll come right back and I'll show you what we did because the angle grinder will make a ton of noise. So I'm going to cut the one and I'm going to cut the spike on that, that bed frame rail, and I'll be right back. Okay, folks. So the part of the video, you know, I left off was the actual welding. I mean, because the machine's loud, and all I did is I applied probably 4 or 5 tack welds on this. It doesn't have to be over welded. And then I had some inexpensive black paint and I just went ahead and I painted it. So what we ended up with right here. And here's the end of it. Painted it black. Looks almost brand new again. And yeah, turned out okay. And so the things that I used is what the real question was. And I showed you the Mig Pliers. Now I also use anti-splatter spray a lot of times. Now people say you can use Pam cooking spray. Well, I've never tried that. The anti-splatter is not that expensive. Let me show you what I use, then I'll explain. Okay, so on larger products I might shoot the anti-splatter all around where I'm going to weld, because you get those little, beads that pop off and they stick real hard, and then you got to use, the angle grinder or the flap wheel, knock all the little nibs off. No big deal. But with the anti-splatter, I've had good luck. They just kind of knock off. And I also shoot some of the anti-splatter in the tip part of that MIG gun, and that, keeps that slag buildup from happening. And if it does happen, it comes off just like that, just like you just barely touch it. All that slag comes off, you're good to go. You want to make sure you've got a good clean tip, okay, and you got it nice and secured. And then the next question is, well, what kind of wire are you using? Most of the time I use 025. Now that's for a lot of DIY projects in the home, or even like on automobiles and just general products. Everybody touts like using 030. Well, 030 really is for thicker metal. As you're getting up closer to that 1/4 inch in thickness, or you're getting into thick metal, like on some of the horseshoe projects, stuff like that, I might use 030, but a lot of times you don't need the 030. But if you get it on sale, you can adjust your MIG welder accordingly. You can still use it, nothing wrong with that, but you can get away easily 025. So that answers that question. Let's switch inside. I'll show you some other products that I use that I find that are very useful, and where you can get them, sometimes at Harbor Freight, sometimes online. And I do like using Amazon, because I just go to work, I do what I do, I come home, it shows up at my doorstep. But you'll want to know what you're buying, and don't always buy the cheapest thing, of course. Okay, I will see you inside in just a sec. Quick, easy fix project for the neighbor. All right, folks, so let's start off with talking about MIG wire, and not all MIG wire is manufactured the same. I know people from out at the club that pick up rolls at Harbor Freight. They use them. They've had okay luck with them. But Lincoln Electric probably has the highest quality control standard in the industry in terms of their MIG wire, and I use it. I really like using it. There's another brand called Super Arc that Lincoln Electric makes. If you're using like things that you can't get to in weld prep, it's got better penetrating. It's going to cost you a little bit more. For general use though, here's the 025 we talked about earlier in the video, and it's about 62.27 a roll. Now, I always have a roll in my machine, and I always have some kind of a backup roll. I mean, in case I run out, because, well, that can be rather frustrating to be in a project and find out you don't have enough wire. Okay, so what else besides the 025? Okay, so we have the 030, and it's 45.34. But like I said, unless you're welding something fairly thick, like getting up close, like I said, to 1/4 inch thereabouts, maybe a little bit less, 030 would work good for that. But for most things in your garage, you can still get a real good burn in off of the 025, and it's probably really all you need. But nothing wrong if you have to adapt in using the 030. Okay, so moving forward from here, what other kind of MIG wire would I buy? Well, that depends. Out at Air Gas, which is a supplier here in town, I can get product made by Radnor. And I use the anti-spray, and I've used the MIG wire, and both of them are great products. So there's lots of good wire out there, but I would just be cautious always, buying the cheapest thing you can get your hands on, because sometimes you run into a lot of issues in the welding process itself, and it really is the wire and not so much you. So start off with good wire. It's only a few bucks more probably. Okay, now I told you I always keep a pair of beat up pliers around, cheapies, and I've had my pair for years, and I probably have more than one pair, but these are the Pittsburgh ones. They're great just to have around and keep, your high quality pliers, maybe, for easier projects, but it's good to have kind of like a throwaway pair, and you can always pick up another one, and this is $2.99 even without a discount applied. So this is a good deal out at Harbor Freight if you just need something like that, and they work fine. They really do. All right, moving on to Mig Pliers. These are the ones from out at Harbor Freight, made by Berger. And I have a pair. I showed them to you out there, and they work fine. They got the corrugation up towards the tip of these, the needle tip here on the pliers. Stick them into that shield, twist it, all that slag comes off. You got the two kind of holes right there, the one that goes all the way through. If you finger tighten on your MIG tip, you can use that. It's got some knurling in there just to give it a little snug. That's nice to have. And the bigger one right there, you can slide, you know, the wire that's sticking out of your mid gun right over it, clip it, and it gives you the correct length sticking out. The back part of this, where the bigger hole is coming into the handles, I mean, you can use that too. I've used it to grip larger things. So it has a multi-use. It's $12.99, no discount applied, but I also have a better pair, and I'm going to recommend to you, a couple of more. Okay, out at the club, what do most of the club members have? I don't want to say most, but there's 4 or 5 of them. They get the Hobart ones. They've got great manufacturing. I've handled them. I don't own them, but I've handled them. They feel good. They have, really nice quality in the build. Nothing wrong with these at all. You're going to pay $12.99, no discount applied. Now, the other pair that I own, because I got them off of Amazon, this is Amazon too, but I got these other ones off Amazon. Let me show you. Okay, right here, made by Irwin. Now they're $14.98, couple of bucks more, but look at the list price. Now these are on sale right now, so you're going to save $15.64. And I don't believe I got that big of a discount when I bought mine, so this is probably a good price if you want a really good pair of Mig Pliers, and it's got outstanding build quality. These are very nice, and you see it's got all the same holes for the most part on here, and these are very heavy duty durable ones. So it's a good suggestion, fantastic price. Okay, next question is, what about Mig Welding Gloves? Now, I own a pair from out at Harbor Freight because I was able to actually put them on, try them. They felt very comfortable, as opposed to those super thick welding gloves that you can get that are made out of like a cowhide, and they're super thick, but you go to bend your fingers, everything is super stiff. I wanted something, when I'm MIG welding, that's got more dexterity, in gripping and holding things and so forth. So I got one of their pair. I still have them, but I also have these from Lincoln Electric, $23, usually $26. You got $3.92 off. So this is a good price. These are really nice. They feel very soft and comfortable when you're using them. And I do have a pair of those really thick rawhide ones for things when I'm really dealing with super hot projects. But these are nice for MIG welding. You just have better fingertip, like I said, dexterity and control. So something worth considering. Okay, so we talked about nozzle dip in the video now. Well, out at the club, there's a couple of people, they weld a lot, and I mean a lot, and they use nozzle dip. They say it works great, keeps the slag off the inside of that shield, and they kind of swear by it in terms of using it. Now, I don't weld all the time, so for me, the anti-splatter works adequately fine. I spray the inside of my shield with it, but I also spray it onto projects, because in that way those little nibs don't stick so hard. You have to use 4.5-inch angle grinder with flap wheels or grinding wheels, to get off all, that slag splatter. So I use it in a couple of different ways, and it's what works for me. But if you're doing a lot of welding, Best Welds here, they make spray. They also make, the nozzle dip like you see here in the picture. But I'll show you right now going forward. Okay, now for me, there are 2 types. I have an air gas store, like I told you, locally, and I'll pick up Radnor anti-splatter, and I get a discount because I know the people that run the place there, and I buy lots of product from there, the MIG wire, and maybe I buy the tips, and I buy little odds and ends, and I bought a pair of gloves from there, and I got a face shield from there, and different things. So anyway, discount aside, I also buy, this weld aid, and I get this off Amazon, and this is a great price right now at $5.54. Very handy to have it around. Now, I don't use it all the time, but when I have a project where I don't want that splattering to occur, it comes in very handy for coating it. Also, if you think about just shooting a little bit and squirting the inside of, that protective shield, this will last you a long time. Great price. Okay, last 2 topics. Somebody said abrasive wheels. They said, hey, look, we see you buy usually from the same company all the time. Well, I'm familiar with buying from Benchmark Abrasives. These are good flap wheels. They last quite a while. This one in the picture, you get a 10-pack, 40 grit, $24, ships prime. Now, if I'm in a pinch, will I use the ones from Harbor Freight? Yeah, they're okay. They just don't last as long, and they're not as durable as these that are made by Benchmark Abrasives. These last much longer. They're much more durable. I don't mind paying a few more dollars, for them, because I believe you get your money back because of the durability and the longevity. So I buy these, and it's the same thing when somebody said, well, is this the only ones you buy? No, I've bought some, of course, from Home Depot. I don't even remember the brand. So there's lots of good brands out there, These are just the ones that when I order online, I do a lot of shopping, off Amazon. These are the ones that I tend to stick with. I buy, I got a little inventory out there of these, and I grab them when I need them. And they come in lots of different grits. I think they come from, down in the 30s all the way up to 120, depending on how much you want to polish for your project. All right, what about cutoff wheels? Okay, picture's a little bit light because I blew it up, but this is the one for 20 bucks. You get a 25 pack. These will last you much longer than the ones at Harbor Freight also. Now, everybody has a Harbor Freight near them. I've used their cutoff wheels. I still use them. I still got some out in the shop that I use. But I will use them and they will wear down much faster than these ones from Benchmark. But still, look, for the price and the discount that you get, the 20% off, whatever, they're still, they're still worth getting. People criticize, that they don't like those cutoff wheels. I think that they work adequately fine for the stuff that I'm doing here at home as a DIYer. But I do buy these. I buy them right off Amazon. They ship. They are very good. They're high performance. Everything that it says I found to be true. And they've got good customer service if you want to ask them a question. Okay, those are the products that I use that I'm kind of familiar with, and I continue to buy them. I'm the Home Handyman. I hope you click subscribe. I hope you keep following me. I hope I answered everybody's question between the forum and the group that we get together with, but you'll see these in a lot of my past videos. I may not mention them and talk to them in any detail, but these are the things that I use and I kind of stick with them. And yes, they're aluminum oxide. It tells you right here in the description. Was another question that somebody asked, are they aluminum oxide? Well, yeah, just read the description. It'll tell you all about them. You can also go up and read the reviews. So I hope you folks have a great weekend, and I'll see you on the next video. When work slows down, we'll do more hands-on projects. For right now, I'll just keep making videos and trying to answer questions or show you new products as we move forward. All right, folks, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.